Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I am joining you from Colorado. We got some snow last night. So if you can hear me okay, I just want to confirm, and this is Callie, by the way. I feel like I never introduced myself, but you guys get all my emails from me, so I feel like you know who I am, but maybe not. Anyway, if you guys want to let us know where you're joining us from, just pop over into the questions window. Some of you guys have started to do this already, so I can tell you've been here before. So thank you. You guys always make me feel warm and right at home talking to all of you. So Angela joining us from Tampa. If you're not familiar with how to set up your audio, we have this presentation here on the screen. You can choose either the computer audio or the phone call option, depending on what works better for you. And we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a few minutes. I just know that we have a few of you that are trying to pop in here, so we want to make sure you don't miss any of the information. So we have Angela from Tampa, Allison from Connecticut, Molly in Nashville, hello from California, Cindy, Jimmy in Dallas. Thank you guys so much for being here and joining us today. I know some of you have a lot of questions and stuff around this, so rest assured we're gonna make sure to try to get everything answered for you by the end of this call. Dan, I just got off a call with you and you immediately hopped over here. I feel like you're kind of living a day in the life of me right now. Going into all these different meetings back to back. But thank you guys so much for joining us. I want to give you guys a quick introduction to those that are going to be leading the call with us today. We have Todd Litzman, our CEO and president, and really wears many hats. So he's going to be hopping on here in a few minutes and kind of leading this presentation with you guys. We also have Ryan Miller, who you can thank for all the integrations and everything that you're going to see get demoed on here today. And then we have Dylan Womack, our product owner, that was also fundamental in making sure that we get this prioritized so it gets out to you guys. So they're all going to be kind of joining in and chiming in. And then, of course, we always have people here on the back end to help answer questions. Dan, I'm glad you're able to sneak in that sandwich. I'm going to do the same thing as soon as I'm off camera. And so, yeah, we have a few people on here that are going to be able to answer questions and everything for you guys throughout. We'll try to save some time at the end, just in case there's anything additional that doesn't get covered through the presentation. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Todd and allow him to kind of present and say a quick hello to you as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Callie. Let me get my screen going here. Let's see. As Callie mentioned, we'll get through stuff and we'll have plenty of time at the end for questions. I'm not sure if I'm sharing. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go through. It's kind of a nice one. There's not a zillion slides that we're going to go through. I'm going to get through the high level stuff, and then we're going to show a live demo of what we're doing as well. So you'll understand what that is. So, you know, the bulk of this is, as we all know, and Callie, can you just confirm, or somebody, that you can hear me okay before I get all halfway through this?
Yep, you sound and you look great. We can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'll give you a raise later. So the getting paid with credit cards, this has been for a lot of us a difficult issue. I mean, we've got a number of different ways for compliance and a number of different ways for tokens and all kinds of different things. So for a long time, we've been trying to just really button this up, make sure that the retailers in particular are comfortable that their cards are secure. And that's really what this process is leading us to on this call today. So getting paid with credit cards going into 2021, what the new process will be. For some of you, the process will be the same. For others, it's going to change and be new. So on the agenda points, as Callie mentioned, the three of us that will be presenting, myself, Dylan Womack, who many of you guys know is our product owner on the iPad, all of the stuff that you've been using for the last however many years. And then Ryan Miller, who some of you may know, came from our support side and has been on our development side for about the last probably couple of years, really working on the iPad stuff, the PC, and then these web tools. So Ryan is instrumental in doing this development for us and what we're going to show you today. So what we're going to hit on is very high level. Don't worry. For those of you that know PCI compliance, I could spend the next 14 days talking about it. We're going to be very high level on what we're talking about here, but what is it? Are you compliant? Are your Brandwise agencies compliant? If you're using agencies and so on, we're going to talk about that. How Brandwise will ensure credit card data is secure going forward. So we're going to have two methods: fully integrated tokenization, which delivers tokens to your ERP, and then you use your ERP to process, which many of you are on. And then the new one, which is fully integrated tokenization using Stream and Stream Lite. And that's what we're going to talk about primarily today. So at a high level, if you can answer yes to these questions, you can say that you're PCI compliant. And there's not very many questions here. I don't see or store credit card data. If you see or store credit card data, then you've gone through PCI compliance, you know that you need to see the credit cards behind locked doors. You need to have cameras all over the place. You need to be certified through all kinds of processing and penetration testing and a million different things. So if you don't see it or store it, you're in great shape. You don't print or download order copies with credit card data present. Now, for our Stream Lite, prior to what we're going to be releasing, we had to give you an ability to process credit cards, and one of them was that you could print the credit card onto a piece of paper. Our requirements or our guidance to you was print it, key it into a terminal, and shred it. If you did that, are you PCI compliant? Not necessarily, but at least you know that I'm the only one that got this document and I shredded it. So that was something that was there, but still not a PCI compliant scenario in and of itself. But if you don't print or download order copies with credit card data, then you don't have it. Or your ERP is capable to fully integrate with a credit card gateway, and all you're getting is tokens back and forth. So I know there's a number of people on the call today that have that scenario, and we're going to go through how that works. But basically, a retailer gets a card into Reach, or a rep takes it, they key it in, goes out to a gateway, comes back with a token, and all you ever work with is a token. You never see the credit card data. So there's really not very many questions that you can answer as we're all collected here that say, yes, I'm PCI compliant. But these three, because you're not doing anything with credit cards, you can honestly say, yeah, we're PCI compliant. Okay, so are your Brandwise powered agencies compliant? For a long time, the answer to this question is a resounding yes. Now, we know that the agencies on the call are the first call that they get when a retailer's card's been compromised, because they said, I just took just made a transaction or took an order with your rep, and the next thing I knew, my card was used to buy a car in India or something like that. So the way that this is handled for the sales reps, they can never enter credit card data into their devices unless they're online. And if they're online, it goes out to a secure portal. So every order that's taken in Play and Reach requires that internet connection, which all of you guys know, if you don't have it and you get a new credit card, you can't enter it. Some of you try to enter it, or reps will try to quickly enter it in the notes field, and we strip it out. Other reps will go, well, I'll put 4 digits in, and then my daughter's name, and then 4 digits in my son's name, and 4 digits in my dog's name, and yada, yada, yada. We strip out all the names, we look at the card, we determine it's a credit card, we get rid of it. Because we don't want that information stored anywhere. So for the agencies, anything taken in Play, anything taken on your Reach site is tokenized. You guys never have credit card data in your system, just tokens. So the answer to that question is yes. So how does it all work? I tried to put a simple slide together to kind of give you the different options. As you'll see by the time we're done with the slide, there's no such thing as a simple slide that discusses PCI compliance. But essentially what you start with is a retailer. They're either going to speak to a rep in person someday, or they're going to talk to the rep on the phone, or they're going to go to Reach, and they're going to want to pay with a credit card. So that retailer is going to have their credit card, and they're going to make it available either to the rep for Play or Reach at that point. So here's my credit card number. Now for Play or Reach to put it in, they need an internet connection that's going to store that credit card information. So that credit card, that window or that iframe that's on the iPad or on Reach is an encrypted window supported by a third party called Hosted PCI. So it goes out of Brandwise to this company that does this for a living, and that's where that credit card information is entered. Once it gets entered there, it gets tokenized. So it gets jumbled into different numbers that are meaningless to all of us, but they relate back to a credit card that's in a Hosted PCI locker where they protect it. They're PCI compliant. They stand behind all of us if something gets compromised. Once that information gets tokenized, it'll then get passed back both to Reach and Play. So it's stored on the rep's device as a bunch of X's, 1, 2, 3, 4, which are the last 4 digits of a credit card number with the expiration date and so on and so forth. There's no actual card number there. There's only a token representation of it. That same token now gets passed into Stream. So for those of you that are on Stream or Stream Lite that are used to getting a credit card that gets detokenized and passed through Stream or Stream Lite, this is a big delineation point for today's conversation. Brandwise no longer can pass that credit card because it doesn't exist in our ecosystem. You're going to get a token, and we're going to talk through how that works and what the choices are. So you have two options that we mentioned at the beginning. Option one, token comes into Stream or Stream Lite. If it's Stream Lite, we're going to discuss that in a second. If it's Stream, that token will come into your ERP system through this process potentially. In this, well, excuse me, it's an option one, it's going to come through. So this is the people that are integrated with a gateway. So let's say that you use Sage Payment Tech or you use Authorize.net, and it's integrated into your ERP. So it's going to come into Stream. You're going to capture that token in your ERP. And when you're ready to ship the product in your ERP, you say ready to ship. It takes that token, goes out to the gateway, comes back with an auth code. You're good to go and you ship it. You never have credit card data. That option is completely PCI compliant. Credit card data is not anywhere in this in the flow for anybody in the Brandwise ecosystem. The only people with the credit card data in this scenario is your gateway. So in this case, Hosted PCI gave you a token that they got from the gateway, passed it all the way through, and you now in your ERP are just communicating back and forth with your payment gateway. So that's option one. That's the most secure. That's end to end. But you have to have an ERP that can integrate with your gateway. Option two is what's new. Option two says, okay, I've got this token, and the token goes to the supplier through Stream or Stream Lite, which we'll show you in a sec how that works, but in Stream. And I can store that in my ERP, or I can leave it in Stream and Stream Lite. And what we're going to talk about is leaving it there. So it's in Stream, order comes into me through Stream or Stream Lite, doesn't have credit card data. And what I'm going to do now is when I'm ready to transact, I'm going to go back to Stream, and I'm going to pull up the order, and I'm going to put a dollar amount in and click a button, and it's going to go back to Hosted PCI with a token that's associated with this order. It's going to take that token, and it's going to go out to the third-party gateway. Let's say it's Authorize.net. And it's going to take the token, the CVV, the dollar amount information, the customer information that's on the order. It's going to go out to Authorize.net, and it's going to go, yep, you're good. And it's going to pass an authorization code back to Stream that's going to show up on that dashboard. So that option two, the most convoluted one, a retailer puts a credit card in, it gets tokenized through to Hosted PCI, the token comes back and sits in Stream. You're ready to, you pull your orders, you download them into your system or you print them out. If you're used to printing them with credit card data, you won't have that. If you're used to downloading with credit card data, you won't have that. You're going to download the order information. Then when you're ready to process your order, you're going to go back to Stream, and you're going to see that in a second. You're going to go to a new dashboard that we have, which is payments. You're going to put the dollar amount in. You're going to hit charge. And there's some nice inherent benefits besides the fact this just makes you PCI compliant. But that's how it all works. And there will be a quiz and a test later to see if you guys can remember where all the lines go. So again, two fully PCI compliant solutions that we're going to put forward. One, which already exists and many of you are on, which is fully integrated tokenization. The option requires that the ERP system is fully integrated. So when a transaction comes in, we give you the token, and now that token just goes back and forth with you and your processing gateway. Hosted PCI and Brandwise don't have anything to do with that anymore at that point till a new card comes in. Option two is the new one, fully integrated tokenization using Stream or Stream Lite. So it provides you with the seamless process for getting your credit cards authorized without you ever having to have that credit card information. So benefits of this are, right now, as you guys know, if you're using the current credit card method for Brandwise that's non-integrated, you have a certain amount of time to process it before by PCI compliance we have to destroy it. So if you are on vacation or it's a holiday and orders come in and you go to process them, you can't because your card's been masked and your CVV's been destroyed, and now either yourself or your rep has to call out to the retailer. When you use tokens, that doesn't happen. So that token can live as long as that card is active. So if you get an order in today and you process it 3 days from now and you ship it 7 days from now and you only ship half, you'll see that you go into the portal, you put the dollar amount that you're ready for, which would be 50% of it. You get an off code, you're set, you ship it. 2 weeks later, you ship the back order. You go back to the same order and stream, use the same information, you put that dollar amount in, you hit the process button, goes out and gets you an authorization code. So that whole process of having to either store credit card data where you shouldn't be, in raw, in your ERP where there's multiple people that can access it, in an Excel file, in a file cabinet, on your desk, wherever it happens to be, is eliminated with this process. So it streamlines it, makes you PCI compliant, protects that information. And again, one of the inherent benefits of this is that you can add as many incremental charges or any time through the process, use that token to authorize and charge the card without having to go back to the retailer, which is a nice big benefit. So let's have a quick look at how this works, and then we'll go a little bit deeper. So if you're on Streamlight, this is what Streamlight looks like. If you're on Stream, you know that you have a bigger dashboard, but the process is the same. What's different now is you have this order payment button, or will have this order payment button. When you click on that order payment button, you'll be able to go in and you'll search for sales orders that you have. And you'll see that you have an enter amount and a confirm charge. So instead of getting all this information and going and keying it in somewhere and grabbing it and going to a terminal, if you're using authorize.net, let's say you have a payment terminal that you pull up on your PC and you key a credit card number in or any of that, you don't have to do that. Come in here, you put, I've got, you notice here, I've got $60.75 charged out of $1,200, or I've got $3,000 out of $7,200. So I've already charged that. Now I can go in and charge another $1,000, and it will tell me how much I've charged, and we'll use the same token, same CVV, same sales order information out to the processor and come back with an authorization, or perhaps come back as declined. Obviously, that's going to be possible. But this solution allows you to say to your agencies, your reps, and your retailers, we never see your credit card information. It's completely secure. It's all held with a third party. It's not Brandwise. It's a third party. This is what they do for a living. They are the ones responsible if there's any compromise, all that type of stuff. That's how this process works. So that's all the preamble up to this. So I want to go ahead and pass this over to, am I passing this, Ryan, to you or to Dylan? Actually, you'll probably do it on your own, but I'll.
I think to Ryan.
To Ryan, okay. And
Yeah,
Ryan's going to show you how this
for me.
works. Okay, in real life, so I'm going to make him the organizer. And then we'll start to share his screen. And then we'll go through a little bit more high-level stuff. And then once we've done that, we'll open it up to questions. Ryan, it's all you.
Okay. Let's see. So this is the main screen. Your order. This is actually the exact picture that you just saw, except live. And you can see up here in the top left, there's an order payment button or link. Let's go ahead and click that, and it's going to take us into the order payment screen. Now, the main features here that you'll use probably on a daily basis are these sorting features or searching features. You can choose a date range that you want to look for orders, or a specific date, or it's very similar to the sales order search, except the brackets over here on the left are a little different. You can easily go back a full year in data, or if you just want, again, 30 days, it'll just come to you. You can also search by a PO, so let's just choose a PO here. And if we want to enter PO, I'm just going to select PO, enter PO, and search, and then that's the only order that comes back. So you can.
Sorry, Ryan. So speaking to the process here, you get that orders in your ERP. You've either keyed it in or imported it in. You're ready to ship. That's your PO number. That's how quickly you just go in, put that PO number in, and you get to this point. Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
Yep. And so now you have this one order that you're looking at wanting to charge, and you can just come over here to the enter amount. Maybe you want to check some order details. You can actually click on this detail button and get some more information, as well as click on the view order. And this is the same sales order that you would see in the sales order screen. It may take a little bit just because this is our development system, so it's a little bit slower, but it should eventually pull up with a full order detail, like the printout that you would normally get. Here we go. Give it a few more seconds.
Hey, Todd, I'm not sure if we're getting feedback from your.
What's that, Dylan? Sorry.
I'm not sure if we're getting feedback from your system, but like when Ryan's talking, I'm getting a lot of feedback. I don't know if everybody else is, but yeah, cool.
Okay. But again, this is your full order detail. If you want to look at anything in the order just to verify some information and make sure that you have the correct order, you can go ahead and do that from this screen. That's again, this just view full order here. You can also see if there's a CVV attached to the order. This button or this checkbox would not be checked if there was no CVV on the order. So now that we've verified that order, we can just go over here and enter an amount and say I want to charge, let's do $10 for now, because this is going to be a multiple charge. So we'll charge him $10 now, and then we'll charge him the difference later. We just go to this confirm charge. Again, you're going to see very similar information to the detail screen, except you're also going to see a charge amount here. So you can confirm here, and then we're going to go ahead and
really quick before you charge that, just like the reason for this intermediate screen, because we did some initial feedback with this because we knew sometimes you charge higher than the order total because retailers can add to the order after the fact, or you have to include freight into that as well. So there isn't a cap on the enter amount, so it is imperative, like when you're looking at this screen before you charge it, this is your responsibility, your point to double check and say, okay, I didn't key in an extra 0 or something. I'm not charging $10,000 when I should be charging $1,000. That's a lot of what this screen is for as well. It's a double checker. So go ahead, Ryan.
Yep, that's exactly right. So there's no, we're not going to prevent you from charging over the order total because we don't know what the amount is that you actually need to charge. So this is your confirmation screen. But if you're okay with this and you go ahead and click charge card, it's going to tell you that it's processing. And then when it's done, we're going to see another message come up. In this case, it was successful. There are cases where it will be declined, or maybe the CVV is incorrect, or anything else that could cause the card to fail. It will come back with a message to you. A lot of times it'll say like declined or rejected, and we have a little bit of a prompt in there to kind of help you understand the message a little bit. But if for some reason it's just a whole bunch of gobbledygook, then we're going to be able to look into that a little bit deeper. And then once you're done, you're going to see this little red check here. This just shows that the total has been updated. And so we charged $10. It was $185 before. It's now $195. And then when I reload this page, we can look at this order again and see that our total has stayed. So we do keep historical data on the amount that you charge, and that's loaded into the screen every time that you refresh. And I guess that's about it with this. What you need to do.
That's great. I'll take the screen back, and I'm guessing Callie has some questions for us.
Yes. So Ryan, you kind of mentioned this, but if they have the wrong CVV attached, that it might get an error. But what happens if there's no CVV that's actually attached?
So I can answer that if you want, Ryan.
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah. If there's no CVV attached, basically, I guess just some processors offer a better rate at which you get charged when you make the transaction if you have a CVV versus if you don't. So it's not going to throw an error or anything if there is no CVV, but just depending on maybe who your processor is and whether they offer you a better rate when you're providing that or you're not, that's really just the only difference that's going to take effect. There's just, yeah, there's a CVV, okay, then charge this rate, or no, there isn't a CVV, okay, then you're going to get charged to this rate. So that is pretty much it.
Awesome. And then you also mentioned on that demo that you can charge multiple times. So where would you see the breakdown of multiple charges versus the total that's been charged?
So I think that is something that, you know, we kind of identified that we probably need a report that you can run for, you know, that kind of data rather than you know, cluttering up the screen. So I imagine that kind of data would live in a report. We don't have anything to show as far as that goes right now. But I think that's kind of the plan, so that you have the, you know, ability to see, okay, I charged it at this date, I charged this much on this date, so on and so forth. So
Yeah, and we've got the records of that, so that shouldn't be too difficult to do. But that'll be a good audit point for you. So when you get your records from your credit card gateway, you can go ahead and match them up to those charges.
And then one more relating to the error screen. How would they update the card if it's been declined?
So there's not actually a card there, right? So if you think about that, if let's say if it's been declined, then you'll charge it outside of Brandwise, because that's the card that's captured on that order. Depending on who the rep is or what's going on, you may want to communicate back. It sort of depends on what the reasoning for it is. If it was a card that they don't use anymore, then it can be removed from the app. But if you're in a transaction and that card gets declined, then you'll need to get another card. And if you want to do that, you would do that outside of Brandwise. You do that through your typical gateway.
Okay. We have a few more questions that are coming in now. Did you guys want to kind of proceed forward and get back to questions?
Yeah, I've got one more slide. Let me go through that last slide, Kelly, and we'll just take the rest and just answer questions.
Perfect. So keep guys.
All right. So that was the live demo. So thanks, Ryan. That was great. Ryan's first demo, so he did very well. So the starting later this month, we'll start to message out to you guys directly, the suppliers, with information about how to switch over to one of the two options presented today. If you're already integrated with your ERP, this doesn't relate to you at all. If you're getting credit card data from us, this relates to you, and you're going to want to look at the stuff that we're going to send out. We're investigating options, and this is a big deal for all of you that have existing credit cards, and how we can migrate credit card tokens that we already have into this environment. We won't be able to do that with 100% of them, but we're hoping we can do that with most of them, where if it's still an active card and all the information is correct and we have the token, that we can pass that information to hosted PCI and they'll provide us back with a new token that will work within the new system. So we're actively looking at that. As soon as we have the specifics on that, we feel pretty comfortable with it that we're going to be able to do that for, you know, a significant amount of the cards, but we won't know until we know. So, you know, that's something that we're investigating right now, which has already been questions about that since we announced the concept of this webinar. You'll be able to visit. You can get here now if you want to, but this is part of what we're going to be sending out to get more information and to fill out a form. So the form is going to say, who are you, your contact information, which processor. So right now there's 65 different credit card gateways that we can work with. If you have additional ones, there's a section on when you go through, you choose which one. We're going to ask you for a bit of information so we can set up an account with hosted PCI, which is where your transactions are going to be processed for your company. Let's say that you happen to have the 66th credit card gateway and you don't find it. There's an other option, and when you click other, you'll key in what your gateway is, and then we'll see how many of those we get, and hosted PCI builds these integrations for us as we get volume. So we'll see a few of these that are missing from there, I'm sure. And once we identify that, we'll be able to go back to hosted PCI and we'll get those built. So that's how that process will work. If you don't have a gateway up there yet, then we'll figure out the options on what you can use until we get the gateways built, but that's how that piece would work. And then the process for both Stream and Streamlight will be available. What you just saw that Ryan ran through by year's end. So if you want to get switched over right away, and when we send this out, or if you jot that down, you can go fill your information in and we'll start to get hold of you and get that switched over as soon as we can. What will happen is, let's say that you already work with Brandwise, you have a bunch of tokens, you come to us and say, I want to switch. Our first process is to say, okay, is there a valid gateway or a current gateway into 65? Yep, we can do that. And then we have to run the process to migrate the tokens that you have in your system over to hosted PCI so that you can use this process. So it's not an instantaneous switch, but the sooner we get your information, the sooner we can start working on it. Our goal is that by January 15th of next year, this process is in place for everybody and there's no more credit card data coming across. Now, if you're a company that doesn't have one of the gateways provided, there's obviously going to be some room in that while we get those built out, because it won't be magic. But we're hoping that the majority of the suppliers in our ecosystem are using one of those 65 credit card gateways, so we can really start to expedite the process of getting credit cards out of our world, all of us, so that as a supplier, you can actually say, I don't get credit cards. You guys as the sales reps and agencies know that these suppliers that you have are not getting credit card data. So just getting this last bit of this nonsense out of our lives will be really spectacular. So that's the bulk of it. So now we can just take however much time we have for however many questions we have, Callie.
Awesome. So you answered this, but of course that question came through a few times. So when the new payment process option is going to be live, I put that link in the window for you guys. So we're starting to collect that information as of today. And then like Todd mentioned, more messaging and documentation is coming out to you guys over these next few weeks as well too, if you want more information around it. And we'll host more of these sessions as needed. Is there anything else you wanted to add there, Todd?
I don't think so.
All right. This message is from Tony. We usually don't know what the exact cost of an order will be until we pack it up and put it on the scale.
Yep.
When do you see our team going in and charging the card? Is there the ability to pre-authorize a card to avoid packing an order and then finding it declines?
So right now, Tony, it's a good question. So the way we're working with it currently is that it just goes out and gets an auth for an order. So basically it's charging the card. But we can definitely find out if there's an intermediary step where we can add another option for just auth. So we'll find out about that and let you guys know. That would be something we'd have to develop in, but that's a possibility that we could do that as well. But right now, it's when you're ready to ship it is when you're going in and doing that.
Awesome. This question is from Brian. Does the customer get a confirmation when their card has been charged?
They don't get, do they get a confirmation when their card is charged? I don't believe that they do. I don't know if they get that from the credit card processor when you charge a card now that tells them it's been charged. If they do, I would imagine it's the same. But that's another great question that we'll find out from our from hosted PCI if they know that, or if there's a way for that to be communicated, or if it's something that we would send out as a confirmation that it's been, we're ready to ship and your card has been charged, something to that effect. It's a good question.
We have two questions from Pierce. First question, does the token appear on the downloaded PDF from Streamlight? Can I take that token and enter it into my own processor system?
We have a method for taking the tokens. So I guess on that question, depending on how that works, Pierce, if it's an integrated one with the 65, it's obviously much simpler to do it within Stream. But I think you may or may not have noticed on the button that that Ryan opened up in the Streamlight showed the token, so you can grab the token from there if you were going to use it with your processor. But I say that the difference is it depends. So if you're integrated with, let's say, a processor now, then the token that would get passed to you would be your specific token for that processor. If it's generic, it needs to go through the hosted PCI process in order to get charged. So that token that you would get from that doesn't have any meaning at that point to your gateway if it's not an integrated gateway within the process. So it's a good question. We can talk a little bit more about that, but it's really not giving you a token that's terribly useful unless you have an integration with your ERP, in which case it comes all the way through. Regarding the printout, if you're downloading it, will count. We can export the token to you. Dylan, we don't have the token on the printout, do we?
No, we're just going to be masking the credit card information, basically.
Okay.
So, at least for now. So.
Okay. Hopefully that answered that, Pierce.
And then this is the other part of Pierce's question as well. If I use the order payment in the Streamlight console, how do I configure the deposit amount, etc.?
How do I configure the deposit amount? I need more.
Deposit account.
What's that?
Deposit account.
So
it's like, how do they set it up to make sure it goes to them?
So it's going to be set up, Pierce, with your merchant information. So every single supplier will have an account within hosted PCI. So when the card is charged, it's charged with your account because it's coming through your stream site, and it gets deposited into your account through that process. Thanks, Ryan.
Yes, thank you.
No worries.
And then Pierce also replied and said, I think you said this will be done via paperwork.
Yes, it'll be done via paperwork. So we'll have to, one of the nice burdens we have is we get to set up an account for every one of our vendors and host a PCI. So when you guys send the information to that will come on that, you'll see that in that form. That's how we'll get the account set up.
This question is from Tess. Is there a certain date that credit card info will no longer print on paper copy of orders from Stream and Streamlight?
The goal for that would be by the 15th of January. So once you guys are in, once you said to us, we want to do this, we move your tokens over and stuff, at that point, you'd be switched over. And our goal is to have everybody switched by middle of January.
The list of 65 credit card processors that are integrated, you currently have on that drop-down menu, right? Is there a separate area where they can just look at that list?
Yeah, we can send that out. It's on the gateway list for hosted. We can send that out to them, Kelly. But when you go fill the form out, to Kelly's point, it gives you the list of gateways, so you can pick the one that you have. So either place, but we'll send you the other link as well.
Yeah, so Kelly, I know you asked that question, so you'll be able to find that there. If you go into the chat window, you can just check it out on that page that I put in there for you guys. Lisa, you asked, are you sending out this slideshow so we can share it with others in the company that cannot attend the call? I don't know about the slideshow. We'll definitely send the recording to you guys, though. You okay with the slideshow as well, Todd?
I don't have a problem with either one. So if they want the slideshow, that's fine.
So just let us know if you guys do want it. Feel free to reach out to info@Brandwise, and then we can provide that to you. And then you also asked, are there additional fees for this service? That's from
So
Lisa.
there will be an additional fee for Streamlight. So for right now, we charge $300 for Streamlight for a year. So there's going to be two things that are included in this: the tokenization, so that you guys are protected, as well as Insight, which is the analytics tool that will be bundled into it. So we'll get into the specifics of that. It's going to be a nominal upcharge, and we're going to communicate that out. I don't want to go into too much detail. It's not going to be anything that anybody looks at and says, oh my gosh, but there'll be some volume, some stuff based on volume. We're just figuring that out based on what the volumes are of the suppliers, but it will be a nominal fee because we pay. The way this works is when you go and authorize through hosted, Brandwise is the merchant, and we get charged a transaction for every one of those. So we just need to make sure that we're covering that cost along the way. But we feel the benefits strongly outweigh what we'll be charging. It won't be a significant fee. And we've kept our Streamlight fee the same for a long time. So, you know, it'll be nominal, and we'll get that information out within the next probably 48 hours to you guys.
Or by Monday, to be fair.
Monday? Oh, by Monday, yeah. So we're not going to do it over the weekend. Sorry. 48 business out.
Did you add QuickBooks? That was a question from Joanne.
So Joanne, what this is going to tell us, which is interesting. Strangely enough, hosted PCI doesn't integrate with the QuickBooks payment gateway yet. But what I anticipate will happen when we start getting these requests, I think we'll get a lot of the QuickBooks integration requests, which will help us get hosted to build that in. So I think that'll probably be one of the first new ones that comes about.
This is another cost question that's a little bit more specific. So I don't know if you're comfortable with like a ballpark range, but this is from Karen. She asked, what is the cost for this service on Brandwise versus going directly to our ERP, such as authorize.net?
So all of the costing. So if your ERP integrates with authorize.net, you'd be using Stream at that point. So Stream is already variable based on volume. That tokenization comes in. We have a different program for that that's based on volume. So I can't really give you the specifics. And on that, there's a percentage charge because of the percentage that we have to get the token the first time. And then it stores in your database. And then in either scenario, the fees that you're paying with authorize.net or Sage Payment Gateway or any of those don't change because of this process. So whatever you're already paying, you continue to pay. The only difference will be a difference in the flat annual fee that comes about based on the additional services. Hopefully that answered that, Karen.
This question is from Garrett. Is there a way to tokenize replacement cards to apply to existing orders / replace the token on an order so that we don't have to take card information over the phone?
There is not right now. The reason being is once the order is confirmed and sent to you, it's in your stream and it doesn't have an ability to change it. So saying that, I'm sure that Dylan is diligently writing notes down as the product owner. What we may be able to do as another iteration to this process is give you the ability to click a button in stream. Well, I guess that's still going to require you to get the credit card data. So I'll tell you what the future of this holds, which is where this will really be. We're still trying to get to the point where a retailer can update their credit card and their passport. When we get to that point, then what we can do is give you the ability to message, you'd message back to them and say, hey, your card's been declined or it's not valid anymore, and allow them to update it in their passport so you don't have to ask for it, and then be able to update, have some sort of a button on there that says go get card information. So that's likely the way we'd want to do that in the future so that you don't have to get that credit card from them. But right now we don't have something that would accommodate that. You'd still have to get it from them.
Thank you. So Karen replied and said her audio cut out, of course, as soon as you were answering the question. So
I
do you
can only
mind
answer it
repeating that again?
once.
Cost for the service versus going directly to the ERP.
Yeah, so the cost to process the card, if let's say it's authorized.net, whether it goes through Stream or it goes to your ERP, doesn't change. If you're getting card data into your ERP, you'd be using Stream to get that authorized.net token. So the way that works is, let's say a retailer goes on to Reach, they go to enter a credit card, it actually goes to authorized.net gets a token. This all goes through hosted PCI, gets a token and passes you back an authorized.net token versus a hosted PCI token into your ERP. At that point, when you're ready to ship or do anything, you do it within your ERP directly between that and authorized.net. So the fee for you is just whatever our integrated ERP fees are. So if you're not doing that, then you get hold of sales and we'll talk to you about that. If you're using Streamlight, again, it's just the charge that we'll put out to that will illuminate to everybody on how that's going to work. But again, whatever you have as your negotiated fee with your gateway provider doesn't change based on this process.
Thank you.
Yep.
This question is from Tara. We process orders through QuickBooks. We enter the credit card information at the time of shipping. Sorry if I missed how this will work with QuickBooks.
So are you entering that directly through QuickBooks? I assume so. So let's make that assumption that you've got the QuickBooks payment integration. So within QuickBooks, you're just integrated with that. So hosted PCI does not have, as one of their 65 integrations yet, the QuickBooks payment gateway. But what I expect will happen within probably a week of us getting this survey out and getting the information back, that we'll have a lot of suppliers that use the QuickBooks payment gateway, and we'll use that to go back to hosted PCI and have them develop that integration. So I would expect that will happen in the next couple of months.
Thank you. This question is from Annette. We use Syncware to export sales orders into NetSuite with our integrated processor MES. Have you worked with Syncware yet?
We work with Syncware. So if MES is one of the integrated gateways that's one of the 65, then we can have a discussion with you. You can talk to our sales team and we can get that fully integrated tokenization going through that Syncware feed.
Awesome. This one is from Rose Campbell. How long will it take the deposits to be processed?
The same as they would all. It's just going directly to authorized. I keep using authorized.net because I think it's familiar, but it's the same process. It's just going through a different front end. So that goes out off code. It's in your processor. So whatever time it takes now is the same time it would have taken yesterday.
Okay. This question is from Steve. Is there an easy way as an agency to get a list of our supplier status and where they're at with this or with their service type?
Yeah, we want to provide that. I mean, one of the things that we want to do is we want you guys to know, the agencies and reps, that your suppliers are, that you can say definitively to a retailer, our system is secure all the way end to end. The suppliers don't get credit card data. So we want to figure out whether we put that on a dashboard or where, on one of your supplier dashboards or something like that shows that, but that is definitely something that we want to look at doing. We've talked about how we can badge that. So something that's on the drawing board.
This question is from Court. Our process tokenizes the card and at the same time creates a customer in the gateway matching our ERP customer. When it is time to authorize the order before shipment, the process starts with the customer link. Everything you've spoken of sounds like card level tokens attached to single orders. How will we tokenize and attach to the customer, not the order?
So if you're going to attach to the customer, that's where you're going to have that, that token is on both. In our system, it's attached to a customer and it comes through on the sales order. So that's how it works within the stream process. So we know that some gateways require customer information, some don't. So those that do will add that additional information. If you're going to store it in your ERP system, then you'll store it on the customer. Even though it comes through on that order, that token stays the same against that customer until it gets changed. So in either event, even though we're talking about it at the order level, the token is actually stored on the customer and it's passed through with the sales order.
This question is from Renee. Will the new token be available for the current PO or will we have to restart the PO?
So when we do the migration over, the idea here is that we're going to migrate whatever date a supplier says, I'm ready to go, we're going to migrate those tokens. So all that stuff will get migrated over in whatever that process is. In the time frame that's getting moved from this token to the hosted PCI token, if a new credit card is taken in the middle of that, you went out and you happen to do an order in between that period of time, then you may lose the credit card date and you may have to go and get it again. So we're trying to minimize that as much as possible, but there is a window that's an unavoidable window. We don't want to shut your ability to take an order down. So there may be that case in that period of time where you took an order, you got a token, and it got missed from that migration process. But we're hoping to, we'll let you guys know when it's going to happen. For each of the companies, here's when you guys are being migrated, so you know what's going on with it. But there is that opportunity for one of those orders to lose that token and you'd have to get the card again, but hopefully not. But it's definitely a possibility. Very slim.
We have a general Brandwise question. And I think this is going to speak directly to Todd and our product owners. So Dylan, perk up a little bit. General Brandwise question. If we'd like to see enhancements to products and offerings, where is the best platform to do that? Is it going to be the Facebook Brandwise Insiders page?
So the best overall place to put it is as an enhancement request to the Brandwise Support Center, which is support@brandwise.com. However, what the Insiders page is great for is to say, hey, I have an idea for an enhancement. What do you guys all think? Because those 800 people that are on the Insiders can say, I think it's a great idea, which you see that. And the more people we get that say this is a great idea, the higher it is on the priority list. So if you really want to be diligent, make sure it's seen, enter a ticket into the BSC and say, I'd like to see this enhancement, and then go ask the Insiders group to vote on it. I think those are both really excellent ways. Dylan, do you have any other thoughts on that? Since Callie called
you, you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. So I guess I didn't perk up quick enough, but
you gotta be fast. You gotta be really fast.
We also have a question from Jamie concerning just Streamlight right now. Where is the information that shows the vendor how much time is left before they have to renew their Streamlight subscription?
Dylan?
I can answer that one. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I mean, so I think it's within 30 days. We start to show it in a little message that'll pop up when they log in to Stream. And then alternatively, orders that they receive through Streamlight that they're getting emails about, like, hey, you have 2 orders that you need to go batch or print. If you're within, I believe, again, your 30 days, it has a section in that email that tells you you have, X amount of days left in your trial before you need to, or not necessarily your trial, but X amount of days before you need to renew. So.
Yep, and that's on that pop-up too, right, Dylan? So it tells you you've got 3 days, 2 days, 1 day.
Yeah, it's a pop-up in Stream when you log in. Yeah, pops up in the lower right-hand corner, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, and it counts you down, so you know how many days you have left?
Yeah, it tells you how many days.
Perfect.
Thank you. And then I posted those other links in there for you guys too. So for anyone with those enhancement requests, the support.brandwise.com takes you to the BSC, also known as the Brandwise Support Center. And then the Facebook group for Brandwise Insiders is in there for you guys as well. Let's see. Another question from Tony. Have you had any success with suppliers entering a provided token into their ERP system? Our ERP system requires a card to be tokenized within our ERP system before a token can be used.
We probably need to have a discussion offline, Tony, about the ERP system and what we might be able to do different than that. The perfect scenario is that you don't have to get, ideally, we don't want you to have to get the credit card data to get the token. So something for us to discuss is just figure out what options may be there. And that would likely, so for something like that, if we determined that that was absolutely the way that it had to be, then instead of working with Brandwise to get the credit card, we'd have a direct channel with hosted PCI for them to decrypt it, and based on what their compliance issues are, that's how that would happen. But I'd rather try to determine if there's a way to do that outside of you guys actually having to get the credit card data before you get the token, if possible.
This question is from Renee. Can multiple tokens be applied to a single PO?
Multiple tokens, no, not right now, just one. Whichever one comes through on the order is the one that can be used.
This question's from Karen again. Given different sales groups use different services to send in orders, is this new service only usable for those who send their clients in through Brandwise?
Yes.
This question's from Judy. Brandwise is used by our outside rep group. We do not want Brandwise to manage credit cards for orders, but our sales reps have multiple vendors. Can they turn off credit card processing for one of the companies they represent?
Yes, they can. You can just, you can reach out to them directly, and they can do, there's two ways they can do that. They can just remove the credit card as an option for a payment method, or they can leave credit card, but not make it a credit card required. So it still comes through as credit card in the payment method, but doesn't require them to put a card number in. But that's something you can work out directly with the agency. And then if the agency has questions, they can get hold of us.
Thank you. And then Melissa mentioned she has the same concern as Tony, that their ERP system, NetSuite, may present a similar issue to Tony's.
Yeah, so we are in the process right now of working with our integrator, NetSuite integrator, to figure out how to get tokens into NetSuite. So if that's the one, stay tuned. We're trying to figure that out right now. It's kind of absurd that we can't pass those in. So we're working with our third-party integrator that integrates with NetSuite to figure that out right now. We actually talked about that this morning.
You got a huge thank you from Melissa.
Yeah, I'd like to get that taken care of for sure.
So we've reached the end of questions. If you guys have anything else, please feel free to raise your hands. Just want to make sure that we're getting through everything for you guys, or throw it into the questions window. But I'm happy to unmute you if you want to just talk rather than type.
Dylan, did you have something you were going to comment on earlier? I heard your voice.
Oh, I just was gonna. Yeah, it was good call there. I was just gonna add on to Judy's question about not allowing the credit cards to go through. If for whatever reason the agency doesn't want to remove the credit cards or anything like that, we can also just configure the payment gateway to not allow anything, and it won't. If the rep tries to go add a credit card, it won't let them. So that's an option as well.
Okay, cool.
Annette also just chimed in and said NetSuite support has given us information for sync where to pass tokens to NetSuite.
That's interesting. Good. Well, that's a positive in the right direction. So.
And then Priscilla asked, I'm sorry if I missed this, but it was mentioned.
So let me just, sorry 1 second. So who mentioned that? Was that Annette you said?
Yep.
So you said, Annette, I think you said that NetSuite provided you information directly. If they did, is that what it said?
Yeah, NetSuite support provided her the information.
Okay. If you have a contact or somebody that you dealt with that gave you that information, I would love that, if you wouldn't mind sharing, just so that we can have another avenue to go through. Thanks, Callie.
And then she said, correct, we are exporting tokens for Pharos already.
Exporting tokens from Pharos. Okay. Okay.
Priscilla asked, I'm sorry if I missed this, but it was mentioned that all credit cards are currently in our Brandwise system may not automatically transfer to this new system. Do you have an idea when you'll have more detail on that?
We're working on that now. So we hope to have detail on that by early next week.
All right. Well, we've gotten to the end of questions. We've had some people drop off, so I think everyone's asked what they needed to at this point.
Okay.
So anything else you guys want to share with us while we have 4 minutes left, or we can give people back some time in their day?
Is that
For
everything?
getting time back, I'm gonna go make a sandwich.
All right, enjoy.
Sounds
Yep,
like lunch.
we got to thank you for you, Ryan, as well. So thank you for all your hard work. That came
Yep,
from-
thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I'm glad everybody enjoys it.
All right, so we've got more information coming soon on all the stuff that we talked about. So again, thank you guys for taking an hour out of your Friday. We appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll have plenty more questions as time goes on.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Callie.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, have a great day.